And I think that that's just so special. And I think that's why people laugh and why they cry and why they cheer and why they gasp. I mean, I still do. And oh my God, I've watched this movie, every frame of this movie 1,000 times. Yeah. So
I could watch it.
This movie really like took over our life for the past year and a half. So yeah, my hair and my wardrobe feels like such a distant memory to like, you know, what we've been in more recently. But
Hi, besties. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Blake Lively's lawsuit has taken over the internet, and some people have grown tired of it and they just want it to go away. And despite the fact that she just filed a second amended complaint and they could have filed a motion to dismiss, Wayfair, Justin, and all of the crew did not file motions to dismiss. Instead, what they did was they answered. They filed an answer, and Jed Wallace filed a motion to dismiss. Now, something that I think is interesting is that they've added some affirmative defenses here, which is basically telling the court that even if everything that Blake says is true, there's no liability here whatsoever. Some of the issues we've discussed on this channel have to do with, can she even sue for retaliation once a contract is completed? Once everything has been executed, is there even grounds beyond that? Can there even be an ongoing smear campaign when the facts are her employment ended back in August of 2024 when the promotion wrapped for this film? Is anything that they're currently doing today really retaliation when she's not their employee? And what about this concept that Blake doesn't even have the cleanest hands here? So say she made it all up, stole a movie, and acted completely out of control on the set and created chaos for everyone involved. Can she really file a lawsuit claiming damages when she actually could have damaged the film itself? Well, Justin and his team have come up with some defenses, and I want to talk with you about what these are. First of all, he says that she fails to state facts that are sufficient to constitute any claim for relief in this lawsuit. That's number one. That fails to state a claim. Okay. And it's even if she says, and everything that she says is true, it doesn't meet the legal requirements for a lawsuit. And he's telling the court, your complaints don't legally matter. They don't add up to a claim that can go to court that the court can actually act on. This, because it lacks a claim, could be a sign that Justin plans to, in the near future, seek a summary judgment, because this could get thrown out before it goes to trial. And in fact, if there isn't enough of a case left by the time it goes through summary judgment, the case could get thrown out altogether. He also says that she lacks standing in order to bring this lawsuit. And he's questioning if Blake even has the right to sue. So he's basically telling the court that even if anything happened to you, I had nothing to do with it. You might have felt some damage, but it wasn't me. And thus, I'm not the right person for you even to bring this lawsuit against. It could also be that she doesn't have a contract with him anymore, or that something happened along the way that Blake gave up the right to sue. He also says that Blake might have waived her right to sue. And he's arguing that she is acting inconsistent with her claims, agreeing to something in the past or saying silent when she should have objected. And because the film has wrapped, promotion has ending, he's basically saying you can't complain now because you already gave up the right. It really goes after what her credibility is, the timing, and it's that she waited too long to do this. If this was something that was seriously going to happen, you did this after it was all over. Justin also is claiming estoppel, meaning that Blake's prior actions prevent her from asserting her claims now. So this applies when someone's bad behavior or past behavior contradicts what they're claiming. So he's saying that Blake's behavior wasn't consistent with what she says here in this lawsuit. And because of the way that she acted, she can't bring this claim against me. And he's saying, you said or did things that now make your lawsuit invalid. So she can't have it both ways. Whatever she did before, it would undermine her legal position now. So in his defense, if she was doing this in order to steal a movie, or if she behaved in this way in order to gain control and it was all fabricated, he's saying that prevents you from bringing this claim altogether. And then the number one I enjoy is that she has unclean hands. He's telling the court that she herself acted badly, she acted wrong, and she had an unfair connection with the dispute. This could have to do with the Van Zandt lawsuit. It could have to do with fabricating allegations of sexual harassment in order to gain control. It's telling them that she's not entitled to justice because she also behaved badly herself. If you break a law or you violate some sort of law yourself, you can't run to the court and ask them to give you money for damages if you yourself were committing crimes too. What this is doing is it's framing Blake as dishonest and manipulative, and it's a huge credibility issue and a PR point for him. And then another one is the First Amendment. So one of the aspects that Blake's been going after, all these content creators, all these people online trying to make it seem like everyone has it out to get her and that we're all part of some ongoing smear campaign. It's really just a method for her to try to silence critics. It's like she keeps trying to put a plug into what's happening to her online, and she can't make it stop because she's made the situation worse, and she's just given people more of an opportunity to talk about it. It's like not letting something go away, right? Taylor Swift spoke about that in a podcast yesterday with her boyfriend Travis. If you were like hang out in a world of criticism and that's all you're consuming, it just makes everything worse, and you make everything worse in your life because you're investing all of your time and energy and you're focusing on the criticism, and then you're not allowing the criticism to die down, and you're only stoking the fire and fanning the flames. So in this case, he's saying that even if he said anything about her, even if he made a claim about her, like say he did call her a bully, or say he did believe that she was doing this to take over a film, or even if he said that he felt like she was weaponizing feminism. He's saying that's my right to say that because the freedom of the First Amendment allows me and afford me the right to speak. Because aspects of all of this against him involve speech, and speech is protected by the First Amendment. And he's saying, you can't sue me for hurt feelings, Blake. Some of these defenses are also trying to tell Blake that she did this to herself, like she failed to mitigate the damage that she did to herself. She's not been damaged in any amount by or anything related to Justin, that she failed to act in time. This one is an interesting one that I don't recall actually being on his first answer, but it says if defendant had alleged any alleged obligation or legal duties which defendant hereby expressly denies, he has appropriately, completely, and fully performed and discharged any alleged obligations and any alleged legal duties arising out of the matters. So again, he's telling the court, listen, even if I had a legal duty to do what she says I needed to do, this is all said and done. She told you that we put the film out and it went to promotion and everything went out without a hitch. She's telling you that after she came back, after this agreement was signed by us, nothing else happened on the set. And so therefore, we fulfilled our part of the deal. Now it's over, and she's bringing lawsuits against us when it's over. Like, it's done. We're not her employer anymore. He says that she has no cause to bring any action to allege punitive or exemplary damages. She failed to bring this lawsuit in a timely manner and are barred from recovery against defendant, which is true for the federal lawsuit for sexual harassment. She has to file it within 300 days of the last incident of sexual harassment, meaning she has to file it when and after all of that happened back in 23, as she's alleged in her complaint, but she didn't bring it until 18 months later. And then this one is actually brand new. Plaintiff claims based on California statutes are barred because plaintiff does not allege that defendant took any wrongful actions within the state of California. How do you sue for sexual harassment in California when the allegations that you claim happened in New Jersey? If you were sexually harassed while working on a set in New Jersey, you would bring the lawsuit in New Jersey. But she forum shopped and went to California, probably because 47.1 existed. She claims her contract says that she would have had to sue in California, but that doesn't even make sense because if the film was a set and the set was in Jersey, you sue where the conduct occurred. And if she's bringing claims of sexual harassment under the state of California's laws, how do you claim sexual harassment when none of that happened in California? He didn't say this the last time. He never brought up the fact that I was never in California when you claimed any of this happened. You didn't say that any of this actually happened in California. And this is actually what Jed said in his most recent motion to dismiss. He said that she's suing in the state of New York. She's using California laws, and yet the actions took place in New Jersey. So, how does she claim New York or even California as the rightful place for all of these things to happen? Because she only, according to her, told Justin about all of this stuff in January in New York. But there's no dispute that anything that happened on the set occurred in New Jersey. At the end of his answer, he asked the court to dismiss the case with prejudice and enter a judgment in favor of the defendant against Blake, and that he be awarded costs for the action and that any other relief be provided to him. And that any remaining causes that are triable, he wants a jury trial for. So the judge isn't going to outright throw the lawsuit out because he asks for it to be dismissed. But I think what he's setting the stage for is a summary judgment because his team has alluded to it numerous times. And the summary judgment will enable him to bring in more details of the facts that they've collected during discovery. Because with a motion to dismiss, you're really not supposed to introduce anything that's outside of the four corners of the complaint. And you have to rely on the fact that, the court will assume that everything in Blake's case that she filed the complaint is true. With a summary judgment, it allows you to bring in what she said in her deposition. It allows you to bring in evidence you've collected, text messages from Taylor Swift, text messages from Ryan, her text messages to, Isabella or to other people on the set, emails that she might have had with people on the set. It'll allow you to bring in the evidence about, we don't have any HR complaints. Here are what we have. The summary judgment allows you to use all the discovery that you have to tell the court that there's nothing here. There's no facts that are disputed. All matters of these that you've brought to us here are settled because there's no facts for a jury to decide on. And you have to dismiss these claims based upon the law. So they sort of present case by case by case of the claims that she has made. It's like a counterpoint. Summary judgments are extremely long documents. They can be hundreds of pages if they need to be as thorough as possible. They can include entire deposition transcripts as exhibits. They can include all records of discovery. And that will be where he will be able to tell the court, listen, the California laws don't apply and nothing happened in California. He'll be able to introduce the unclean hands. He'll be able to tell them she's barred from bringing this, that where he might be able to introduce a copy of her contract that says she waives her rights. Blake likes to use trumped up legal claims and letters from lawyers to try to get what she wants. She's routinely uses demand letters to get what she wants and then threatens legal action. Now, the judge might want to call that hard bargaining, but that makes for a really extremely contentious relationship between an employer and an employee. If you have to resort to threats to get what you want and have to use legal threats to get what you want, it makes the good faith of negotiation kind of fall by the wayside, because the person that is responding is doing so under the duress of, well, if I don't do this, she's just going to sue me. I think that he was in a rock and a hard place, and I think he continues to be in a rock and a hard place. And I think that he should have just cut his losses with her when she was not cooperating on the set. But I'm sure he felt like he couldn't because Sony wanted her. He probably felt like he couldn't because WME wanted her. He probably felt like if he fired her, then it might look like retaliation for firing her for bringing forth the claim. So she puts him in a position where she can't be fired because she's bringing forth claims, and he can't retaliate. And then he's forced to sign something even though it didn't happen, and she's preying on the fact that he's in that position, and it's a defensive position right off the bat. He was always in a position of defensiveness with her, and even today remains in a position of defense. But I don't think this will go to trial because it doesn't sound like he believes that there's anything here to try. And I know that they have said that they want a trial, but his answer doesn't say that. His answer in court says the exact opposite. He says he only wants a trial on causes of action that are triable, those that actually can be brought to trial, not ones that are barred. So if her federal claims are barred because she didn't go through the exhaustive administrative levels, those get kicked out in a summary judgment. If the California claims are kicked because nothing happened in California, those claims go out. And then what do you have left? Not a lot. And then if he can prove in a separate summary judgment that nothing happened for retaliation, there's ways to say it wasn't retaliation too. Him defending himself against what she's doing doesn't mean that he's retaliating. And him developing a strategy to defend himself based upon false allegations online is not retaliation. And Blake, in her own deposition, told Justin's attorney, that her belief was that the retaliation that occurred here was the retaliatory lawsuit and the statements that Brian Friedman makes to the public that impact her character that she feels are retaliatory. The law doesn't care about feelings, the law cares about facts. And that's the sad part about the law. You can feel all day something as a retaliation, and it doesn't mean it's actually retaliation. Someone filing a lawsuit and having a website where they host the lawsuit documents that they filed against you isn't actually retaliation. And it's not putting out a public narrative. It's making a legal record that's a public record accessible to the public. They're not publishing defamatory statements. They're publishing a record that was filed in court. So she's going after a website and the publishing of a website that all it did was post a public record. And even though it was dismissed because it was dismissed for litigation privilege, the judge did not find that the lawsuit was in bad faith, and he did not find in his motion to dismiss that it was based upon 47.1. He said that the claims they were making against her for defamation were barred by litigation privilege. It was that simple. That was it. That's not retaliation. So, what are your thoughts about his response? Do you think the judge will be on notice that they believe that this is all false and wrong? And do you think that this means that come November, a summary judgment is coming? And wouldn't it be karma if Blake had to pay his attorney's fees? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, bestie.